family to yours. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
You're watching News 12 live at 5. Continues.
Well, we're just days away from the road to Miami as the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Florida State Seminoles. News 12 Sports Director Dan Booth will be joining us live with the latest. But first, Live at 5 continues with another pedestrian death, this time involving a Richmond County deputy in his patrol car. It's number 20 for this year alone. Last year it was only 8. Our Sydney Hood is live on Meadowbrook Drive where that accident happened. And Sydney, this crash is a little different than the others that you've reported on in the past.
It is, Will. This is not a busy highway. I am surrounded by houses out here. The speed limit out here is 40, and there's a school zone right down the road from me. And a lot of these houses out here have families inside, and then whenever this accident happened on Christmas night, a lot of them were inside, so they heard this happen. One neighbor told me that she was inside celebrating Christmas with her kids whenever she heard this happen. It was practically in her front yard. Now, GSP says it was right before 11 on Christmas night whenever they responded, and once they got to Meadowbrook Drive, they found the Richmond County patrol car. Now, this is still a very active investigation. Details are limited, but just now we did get a name confirmed for that deputy driving that Richmond County patrol car. GSP says it was Kenneth McCormick.
All right, thanks, Cindy, for staying on top of that. Across the river, the South Carolina Highway Patrol is asking for information about a hit and run that left one person seriously hurt in Edgefield County. Troopers say a car was traveling on Edgefield Road near Amelia Drive when it hit a person on Sunday. Law enforcement says the car is possibly an SUV that may have damage to the passenger side mirror.
Well, weather-wise today, we did see...
Road to Miami. Sponsored by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
The Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida State Seminoles are both down in Miami ahead of their big showdown on Saturday. Here's News 12 Sports Director Dan Booth to continue our road to Miami coverage.
Well, I hear Miami's not a bad place to be this time of the year, and now that the Dogs and the Seminoles are settling in, it's only a matter of time until we find out what both of these teams are made of on the gridiron. Before the Dogs jumped onto a plane to fly down to South Florida, Kirby Smart discussed the importance of using this opportunity to help the players, the coaches, and the whole program grow. For the younger players seeing the field, it'll give them a taste of what it's like playing in a bowl game. As for the more experienced players, they can always use the bright lights to increase their draft stocks and have one last chance to go out on top before they begin their careers playing on Sundays.
You set expectations and then you hold people to them, right? If it's a real thing, okay, then you're just trying to continually find the best version of yourself, both individually and collectively as a unit. And so you never reach your best version of yourself, because once you hit it, you're always trying to meet the next mark. And so that's how you go about, one, preaching to a standard and then trying to reach it.
With 2 games to go in the regular season, FSU quarterback Jordan Travis suffered a season-ending leg injury, and since then, the trajectory of the Seminoles season has completely gone sideways. Shortly after the committee's decision to leave the Noles out of the playoffs, backup quarterback Tate Rodemaker entered the transfer portal, and star wide receiver Keon Coleman declared for the NFL draft. So that means there's going to be a lot of new faces taking the field for FSU this weekend.
I want to get their best shot, because, they're going to get ours. And, they have a very, very good coach team and very talented team. So, I'm excited. So, as a competitor, I hope we get their best shot because they're going to get ours.
On Friday and Saturday, both Alyssa and myself will have live coverage from down in Miami with the latest from the players, the coaches, and the fans leading up to Georgia's showdown with Florida State at Hard Rock Stadium. Plus, we'll have a live post-game recap on Saturday night.
All right, thanks, Dan. Looking forward to that. And New Year's Eve is going underground in the city of Atlanta. Last month, the city announced there wouldn't be a peach drop this year. Joshua Skinner explains the revamp aimed at keeping the party going.
When the city of Atlanta announced earlier this month there'd be no peach drop on New Year's Eve, well, it was kind of a bummer. But Underground Atlanta will still be hopping on New Year's Eve thanks to a brand new festival.
It's never fun not partying on New Year's.
So there's a little disappointment, of course.
Nate Quinn is an associate at Best of Atlanta on Upper Alabama Street. And a hardcore Atlantan.
Hawks, Braves, Falcons, United, you name it, right here in Atlanta.
And for a business that's been part of underground Atlanta for decades, it's about as Atlanta as it gets.
A lot of it comes right from the owner himself, Adam, who has been here for 20 years.
But for Lyle Baldez and the ownership group attempting to revitalize underground, the party must go on.
That's the Peach Drop Tower, so it's a big part of the property is to host something cultural and something special.
That cultural and special is Atlanta Peach Fest.
There's going to be amazing DJs, immersive rooms, a toast at midnight because it's New Year's Eve, as well as tons of food options and entertainment for everyone.
All put together in record time.
This took a matter of 3 weeks.
And with underground almost completely on holiday in the wake of Christmas, call it the calm before the party.
It sounds like it's going to be a great time for everybody to come through. A lot of events, mostly for the nightlife itself.
So get ready to have a night, because it's not likely that there will be a Falcons playoff party anytime soon.
Probably not. No.
And if you're willing to make that trip, Underground Atlanta is inviting you to dance into 2024 with live music, food, and a huge fireworks show. And if you plan on celebrating the holidays and have too much to drink, there's a way for you and your vehicle to make it home safely. AAA is currently offering its Tow-to-Go program up until 6 a.m. Tuesday, January 2nd. You can call the number there on your screen, 855-2-to-go. I think it's kind of a little bit confusing, but you'll receive a free ride with your vehicle to a safe location within a 10-mile radius. This is only for those who live in Georgia. It's not offered in South Carolina. Well, up next, a South Carolina pastor is going from the pulpit to the driver's seat. How he hopes his new Uber job will pay off in more ways than just one. Riley?
Well, temperatures tomorrow look to top out close to 60 again, but much colder conditions arrive Friday into the weekend. Full forecast coming up.
Ruth's Family Restaurant was about to be closing for good until a couple stepped in and saved the day. Hear from them and customers' reaction, all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Time and temp day on Thursday, and then the rest of that 7-day looking highs in the 50s.
Thanks, Riley. A South Carolina pastor started driving for Uber this year, but not for any obvious reason. The pastor says being an Uber driver in his community helps him assess people's needs and give back in his own way. Ray Urania reports.
When people in need get into the backseat of Jeffrey Hickman's Uber, the pastor of over 20 years says he's willing to listen and help.
There are a lot of people who are struggling with the idea, does somebody see me? Does somebody hear me? Does somebody even care that I'm alive? You know, am I valued? And so this has just been an amazing way to just let people know, like, somebody cares about you and God loves you.
Hickman says he started driving for Uber this year. Recently, he met Rosalind, a woman who needed a ride to a doctor's appointment.
So I knocked on her door, nobody came to her door, and then eventually I heard a voice. And eventually the door opened, and it was a lady that was sitting in a wheelchair. She was a recent amputee and was really struggling.
After the trip, the pastor says he knew he had to help her. He went on social media asking for $1,500 and volunteers.
Within an hour, we had $1,600, and a crew actually showed up at her house the very next day and built that wheelchair ramp.
And when he heard some passengers may go hungry during Thanksgiving,
picked them up before and just shared with them, hey, we're giving away free Thanksgiving meals on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Earlier this month, he was going to pick up someone when he was hit on the passenger side, totaling his Ford SUV with over 320,000 miles. Even so, he's happy he's able to give back in his own way.
If you really think about anything that you've ever done for somebody or that you've given away, that you've helped somebody, you've never regretted it. You know, because it's just generosity fills your heart.
Hickman says he's waiting to hear back from the insurance company to see if he can get a replacement for his car and possibly continue his mission. Well, breaking news out of Columbia County, Governor Brian Kemp announcing 3 appointments to superior courts across the state, including Barry Fleming to the Columbia Judicial Circuit. Fleming will be replacing Superior Court Judge James Blanchard Jr., who's retiring. Fleming is a founding partner of the law firm of Fleming Nelson LLP. He has also served as chairman of the Columbia County Board of Commissioners from 1999 to 2002.
A new apps in 2023 change the way we work and how we spend our free time. I'm Jamie Tucker coming up with one of my favorite apps of the past year that helps you do both of those things.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Find your
2023 may go down in history as the year of AI, and as our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker explains, it made our smartphones even more useful.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
Oh, it's crazy when you think that this time last year, a few people had heard of ChatGPT. Now, it's being used in just about everything we do. And the official ChatGPT app that came out earlier this year puts AI at your fingertips.
The ChatGPT app hit the Apple App Store in the spring and launched for Android devices later in the year. Here's the icon of the official ChatGPT app. This app is faster than using the ChatGPT website, and if you use the platform often, the app makes it convenient to make requests and copy and paste results in a messaging app. It also syncs your history with the desktop ChatGPT account.
Give me some ideas for good New Year's resolutions.
Updates make it possible to chat with ChatGPT using your voice. Ask the assistant for ideas or to play a game. It's as if you're speaking to another person or a companion. It is important to download, install, and use only the official ChatGPT app. There are several fake ones in the app stores. Make sure you download the right one. Here's the icon to look for. I'm Jamie Tucker, and ChatGPT is one of my apps of the year.
The 2024 presidential election will be here soon, and more than 2 billion people will be eligible to vote all across the nation. Now, with artificial intelligence or AI taking over, this may leave people wondering about how it will impact the outcomes. Even though that the U.S. presidential election may be the most talked about, it's not the only race taking place. Popular social media apps like Meta, TikTok, and X say that they will fight the challenges of AI, but some say it's not enough as the tech industry continues to cut jobs.
The fact that there's been such massive job cuts to content moderation teams pretty much across all the big US social media platforms is evidence of the fact that they don't really take it seriously enough. And that will have concerning effects in the 2024 elections.
Aside from AI, a record year for elections could also prove to be an unprecedented challenge to the electoral process in general. Riley?
Well, we are looking at a little bit cooler weather Thursday, but really going to notice the winter making a return by Friday with the wind chills down into the 20s, waking up early into the day. I'm going to look at that 7-day forecast just after break.
Wrap up the year sales event at Waynesboro Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Beat the deadline now through the end of the month.
Price drop, Rams, Renegades, and Grand Cherokee L's up to $10 grand off.
We'll pay off your credit card up to $1,000.
Good to go, Waynesboro.com.
Hey, Georgia.
Don't wait. Drastic discounts right now.
The wrap up the year sales event at Waynesboro Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Rates as low as 2.9%.
Lowest prices of the year. Good to go, Waynesboro.com.
Let's check out this image from the Hubble Space Telescope. It captured mysterious, ghostly shadows on Saturn's rings, the latest sightings of so-called spokes that continue to baffle scientists. Well, NASA says this is a composite photo taken by Hubble in October as Saturn was about 850 million miles away, so just a quick trip. But like Earth, the planet has an axis with a tilt that causes seasonal changes, though NASA says each season on Saturn lasts about 7 years. And the images from space continue to just baffle us, but they're also amazing in the same way. It's so cool.
It is. It almost looks fake because of how clear it looks.
I was just going to say that.
But you can actually, if you have a decent telescope, whenever Saturn's out in our night sky, you can point your telescope at it, and it looks exactly like that picture.
That's awesome.
I've actually seen people post pictures of it on social media. So if you have a good telescope, I believe Saturn and Jupiter have actually been out in our night sky. Unfortunately, we have cloud cover tonight, so it may not be best for viewing those tonight, but temperature is pretty comfortable. We just dropped into the upper 50s here in Augusta, so we're at 57. We'll continue to just gradually drop through the 50s the rest of this evening through around midnight. Now, if you are going to be hitting the links tomorrow, early tee times, mid-40s, a little bit chilly out there. Should be a really nice afternoon, though. We'll see highs get close to 60 degrees, and just going to keep a west wind between 8 to 12. Could be a little bit breezy at times out there, but not overly breezy like we're expecting on Friday. Now, for our Sunday, New Year's Eve plans, if you're going to be heading out at night for New Year's Eve plans, we got temperatures in the 40s, right around 7, and then dropping into the 30s by the time that ball is going to be dropping. So a heads up, it is going to be chilly out there. Quick look at that 7-day forecast. 60s tomorrow, but 50s for highs the rest of the week.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
This is not you.
It's not me.
Real